Wanting too much makes you push it away. Have you ever wanted something so badly, it became an obsession? A relationship, an opportunity, a specific outcome. But the more you longed for it, the more it seemed to slip away. This isn't just bad luck, it's a real energetic mechanism, backed by both science and psychology. In this video, we'll explore this powerful paradox, why the more you crave something, the more it eludes you, and more importantly, how to reverse it, not by giving up, but by shifting your internal frequency. Desire is a fire, but when it's fueled by fear, it doesn't warm you, it burns you from the inside out. We've all felt it, that deep, aching want, the kind that keeps you up at night, the kind that whispers, "If only I had this one thing, then I'd be okay." But have you ever noticed that the more desperate your wanting becomes, the more life seems to say not yet? This isn't punishment, it's a pattern, and it's rooted in energy. You see, in energetic terms, wanting isn't innocent. It's not just a thought or a wish. It's a vibration, and that vibration, subtle but powerful, carries the signature of lack. When you say, "I want this," what you're really broadcasting to the field is, "This is not mine. I don't have it. I'm not it yet." And that signal, just like a radio frequency, gets mirrored back to you. This is the core of what some call the reverse law of desire. The more tightly you grasp, the more loudly your energy screams, "It's missing." And the quantum field, like an echo chamber, reflects not your words, but your signal. Neville Goddard said, "You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are." And Abraham Hicks reminds us, the feeling of need keeps it away, because the field responds to coherence, not craving. Let's make it real. Imagine two people walking through a park. One is glowing. They're in love, not necessarily with someone, but with life. Their eyes are soft, their body relaxed, their heart open. They're not searching, they're simply being. Then there's someone else. Same park, same sunlight, but they're scanning the crowd, hoping someone notices them. Their energy says, "Please choose me, please complete me." Which one do you think attracts more connection? It's not about effort, it's about frequency. One vibrates wholeness, the other, emptiness. And this shows up beyond relationships. In a study from the University of British Columbia, participants who imagined themselves already having a goal versus just wanting it showed significantly higher levels of motivation, self-trust, and outcome clarity. They took more aligned action, not from chasing, but from identity. Even your nervous system can tell the difference. Wanting from fear activates the sympathetic system: fight, flight, or freeze. You grip, you overthink, you obsess. But when you shift into having, even just emotionally, your parasympathetic system kicks in. You breathe deeper, you receive more, you become magnetic, not frantic. So here's the truth. Desire isn't the problem. Longing isn't wrong. What creates the resistance is when that desire gets wrapped in urgency, shame, or scarcity. It becomes a repelling signal, not because you're unworthy, but because the field cannot mirror back what you don't energetically hold. So what if, instead of asking, "How do I get this?" you asked, "How do I become the version of me who already lives this?" What does that version feel like? Stand like? Breathe like? Because you're not here to beg the universe. You're here to become the frequency that life responds to. Have you ever felt this paradox play out in your life? When wanting something too much seemed to push it further away? Drop your story in the comments. Your experience may resonate with someone else. And stay with me, because in the next part, we're going deeper into the hidden mechanics of this. What is the frequency of lack, and what are you really broadcasting? The answer might just change how you manifest everything. You're not manifesting what you think about. You're manifesting what your nervous system believes is safe. Before we go deeper, take a moment. If this message resonates with you so Farif, something inside you feels seen, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell, so you won't miss the next step in this journey of healing, alignment, and deep remembering. Now, here's the truth many never hear. You're always broadcasting something, even in silence, even when you're smiling on the outside but spiraling within. And the question isn't, "Am I manifesting?" It's, What frequency am I actually sending out? Let's look at the science. According to the HeartMath Institute, every emotion carries a distinct electromagnetic frequency. Gratitude, joy, peace, they emit a smooth, coherent wave. But when you're stuck in fear, jealousy, anxiety, or scarcity, that wave becomes jagged, fragmented, and chaotic. Your heart and brain fall out of sync. Your inner world becomes a field of static, and that's what you send to the quantum mirror. That's the frequency of lack. And here's what's important. Most desire in our world isn't born from inspiration. It's born from comparison, from looking at someone else's timeline and whispering, "Why not me?" From rushing, from shame, from that silent inner voice that says, "I'm behind." But this emotional cocktail longing, fear, impatience, sends out one clear signal. I don't have. I'm not there. I'm not enough. And your body remembers it. Polyvagal theory, created by Dr. Stephen Porges, shows us how your nervous system is wired for survival. When you perceive a threat, even an emotional one like rejection, abandonment, or unworthiness, your sympathetic nervous system activates. You go into subtle fight or flight. Your breath shortens. Your muscles tighten. Your perception narrows. And most of all, your body memorizes this state. It becomes your energetic baseline. This is why you might say, "I want love." But if your nervous system is still bracing for heartbreak, you'll unconsciously choose people, situations, or behaviors that mirror that tension. You're not attracting what you want. You're attracting what your body believes is real. Here's an example. Imagine someone who carries a deep fear of abandonment. Maybe it started in childhood. Maybe it's been repeated through heartbreak. Now, every time they get close to someone, their body contracts. They start to overgive, overanalyze, pull or cling. Not because they're broken, but because their system is still tuned to the frequency of, "I will be left." And what happens? They find themselves in relationships where they get left. Not because they deserve it, but because that's the vibration they unknowingly send out. The universe isn't punishing them. It's responding to the field they're carrying. So take a breath. Pause and ask yourself, what is the emotional climate of my inner world? Is it calm or chaotic? Inspired or grasping? Because here's what's powerful. Once you become aware of what you're broadcasting, you can start to shift the signal. And in the next section, we'll go even deeper into this. Why chasing doesn't bring things closer. It actually pushes them away. Have you ever felt like your biggest desire keeps slipping through your fingers no matter how hard you try? Let me know in the comments. Your story matters, and someone else might need to hear it. So stay with me. Because once you understand the mechanism of chasing, you'll finally know how to stop repelling what you long for and start becoming a match for it. Have you ever chased something so hard, only to feel it drift further and further away? Like trying to hold fog in your hands, the tighter you squeeze, the faster it disappears. This isn't just poetic, it's psychological, and it's quantum. Let's break it down. When you chase something, whether it's a person, a job, money, or validation, you're not just taking action. You're also sending a signal. A subtle but powerful message. This thing is outside of me. I don't have it. I need to prove I'm worthy of it. And in that very moment, you unconsciously place yourself beneath what you desire. Energetically, you shrink. You pedestal the thing you want. And your entire system, your voice, your actions, your body language begins to broadcast a state of imbalance. This is a core principle in psychology called status differential. The more you chase someone or something, the more you imply they are the prize. And you are not. In human dynamics, this often leads to reverse resistance. Think of it this way. When you pressure someone to choose you, agree with you, or love you, they often pull away. Not because they don't care, but because deep down, we are wired to crave freedom, not pressure. A classic experiment in behavioral psychology, known as reactance theory, developed by Jack Brem at the University of Kansas, shows that the more you try to convince someone to make a specific choice, the more likely they are to do the opposite simply to preserve their autonomy. The mind pushes back against force, even when it's subtle. So what happens when you bring that energy into manifestation? When you chase reality instead of allowing it to come to you, you reverse your polarity. In the quantum field, you are the magnet, and chasing flips the charge. Instead of drawing something in, you begin to push it away. It's not because you don't deserve it. It's because the very act of chasing sends a message to the field. This thing is not here. This thing is out of reach. And what does the quantum mirror do? It reflects that truth back to you, over and over again. So here's a radical thought. What if chasing is actually confirming the absence of what you want? What if every time you reach for it with fear, urgency, or doubt, you're telling life, I'm not a match yet? That's why sometimes the most magnetic thing you can do is stop chasing. Not to give up, but to come back to your own center. To remember that attraction is not a game of proving. It's a game of energy, of frequency, of trust. Think about your own life. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stopped obsessing, something finally arrived? A message, an answer, even a person? Let me know in the comments. Sometimes your story can unlock someone else's exter. That's AT for NT. And stay with me because we're about to dive even deeper into the root of this pattern. Why do we chase in the first place? What's the inner belief fueling that grasping, that reaching, that sense of not yet? In the next section, we'll uncover the hidden programming beneath it all. The deep-rooted identity of I'm not enough, and how that subconscious story shapes your entire frequency. This is where real change begins. What if the real thing holding you back isn't the world outside you, but the quiet belief inside you that says, I'm not enough yet? It sounds subtle, but it's the blueprint behind almost every pattern of over-efforting, over-giving, and over-chasing. A silent script, written long before you knew how to name it. At the core of most unfulfilled desire lies a fragile voice, one that whispers, I have to earn it. I have to prove I'm worthy. If I were better, it would already be here. This is not manifestation. This is compensation. You see, the subconscious mind is like the soil beneath your life. Whatever is planted there, beliefs, memories, stories will eventually bloom into behavior and experience. And here's what neuroscience confirms. Your brain doesn't reflect what's real. It reflects what you deeply believe is real. So if your inner programming is built on the belief, I am not enough, then even your biggest desires will be laced with fear. You won't chase because it excites you. You'll chase because you're trying to fill a gap that no external outcome can ever close. This not enough frequency isn't something you chose. Often, it was installed early through childhood wounds, emotional neglect, or environments where love had to be earned. Your inner child learned that affection, safety, or praise came with conditions. So now, as an adult, you might feel like you're always reaching, never quite arriving. It's not your fault, but it is your pattern. And when you hold the belief, I lack something, the quantum field mirrors that frequency not to punish you, but to reflect your state of being. This is why you might do all the right things, scripting, visualizing, working hard, but still feel like something is just out of reach. Because deep down, the signal is still, I'm not complete yet. A 2022 study from UCLA found that people who tied their goals to internal insecurity, rather than inspiration, experienced significantly higher cortisol levels, poorer decision-making, and lower emotional resilience. Why? Because their desires were fueled by fear, not embodiment. And fear creates resistance. So pause for a moment. Gently ask yourself, are my desires rooted in joy or in proving I'm enough? Is this goal an authentic expression or a silent plea for validation? I'd love to hear your reflections in the comments. Have you ever felt that gap between what you wanted and what you believed you deserved? This isn't about blame. It's about clarity. Because when you finally see that your deepest block is not reality itself, but your relationship to your own worth, you unlock something powerful. Choice. You can't always control what shows up, but you can shift what you vibrate from. And when you begin to radiate from wholeness, not hunger, life responds very differently. Share this video with someone who's been chasing without realizing why. Sometimes, one quiet insight can end years of inner war. And stay close, because in the next part, we'll explore the turning point. How do you move from craving to presence? From not enough to I already am? It's not about giving up the dream. It's about changing the energy you dream from. Let's step into that next. What if the version of you who already has what you desire isn't somewhere far in the future, but already alive inside, you waiting to be embodied now? We often imagine change as something we chase, a goal we reach, a reward that comes once we've done enough, healed enough, become enough. But what if real change happens not by force, but by resonance? This is the power of embodiment. Embodiment means we stop asking, when will it happen? And start living the answer. Who am I when it already has? Instead of saying, I want financial freedom, you shift into, I am someone who chooses freedom today, in the smallest ways I can. It's not about pretending. It's about tuning. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to what you think you deserve. It responds to what you consistently feel, expect, and embody. The HeartMath Institute has shown that the electromagnetic field of the heart is up to 60 times stronger than that of the brain. That means your emotion, not your thought, is the dominant broadcasting signal. So even if your mind says, I believe, but your body still carries doubt, fear, lack, the field listens to your felt state, not your affirmations. Here's the shift. When you move from craving to presence, your energy changes. And when your energy changes, so does what you attract. Let's make it real. Imagine two people standing under the same sky. One is saying, when will it come? Why not yet? What am I doing wrong? The other closes their eyes, softens their breath, and asks, how would I walk? Breathe? Choose if I already had it. And then, they do one thing from that place. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's investing in themselves. Maybe it's simply slowing down instead of rushing. That small action, done in full emotional alignment, carries more magnetic power than hours of anxious planning or forced strategy. This is not about faking confidence. It's about broadcasting coherence. Because when your inner state aligns with the outcome you desire, the field mirrors it. Ask yourself now, what's one version of you that already has what you want? What do they feel in their body? What decisions do they make in the quiet moments? What don't they chase anymore? Start there. With the body. With a breath. With a tone in your voice that says, I am not waiting. I am being. Have you ever felt that shift? That quiet moment when you stopped needing and it found its way to you anyway? Let me know in the comments. Your story might be the reflection someone else needs to shift their own. And if this message stirred something in you, if it created a pause, a recognition, a softening, share it with someone you love. Because sometimes, we don't need another goal. We need permission to live as if it's already real. Stay with me. Because in the next part, we're not just talking about energy. We're going to ground it. How do you break the craving loop? How do you embody this presence, not just once, but every day? I'll walk you through it step by step. Sometimes, the thing that finally sets us free isn't getting what we want. It's realizing we no longer need it to feel whole. Craving is subtle. It doesn't always scream. Often, it hides behind our goals, our routines, even our self-improvement. But underneath, it's the nervous system saying, I'm not safe without this. To truly shift your energy, you don't need more effort. You need gentle awareness. You need to return to a place inside you where nothing is missing, only misaligned. Let's go there now. This is a simple daily practice I call the 3-question inner inquiry. It's not a trick to bypass desire. It's a path to uncover the truth beneath it. Find a quiet space. Sit or lie down. Place one hand on your chest, one on your belly, and ask, slowly, like a whisper to your soul, what am I trying to prove by wanting this so badly? Is it love? Safety? Being seen? What's the hidden prize I think this outcome will give me? If I didn't need this to feel enough, what would I do differently right now? What would shift in my breath, my choices, my posture, my pace? Where can I offer love to myself right now, without waiting for anything to change? It could be your heart, your tired body, your inner child. Start there. Let the answers rise without judgment. There is no right way, only honest noticing. Now, breathe. Practice coherent breathing, a technique backed by the HeartMath Institute and Stanford Center for Compassion and Altruism Research. Inhale for 5 seconds. Exhale for 5 seconds. Repeat for at least 3 minutes. This rhythm regulates your autonomic nervous system, rebalancing your brain and heart waves into coherence. It tells your body, I am safe. And when the body feels safe, it no longer needs to cling, chase, or contract. Here's the deeper truth. This practice isn't about letting go so you can finally get it. It's about releasing the belief that you ever needed it to be enough. And that shift, that's what changes the frequency. The more often you do this, not once, but as a ritual, a way of being, the more your base signal softens. And as your signal changes, so does what life brings back to you. What did these 3 questions stir in you? Was there a moment where something softened? Or maybe something rose to the surface that surprised you? Tell me in the comments. Sometimes writing it down helps you witness your own breakthrough. And stay close, because in the next part, we're stepping into a real story. The moment one woman's frequency completely flipped. Not through force, but through presence. This is the story of Maya, and how everything began to shift the moment she stopped waiting and started embodying. Let's meet her. Sometimes, the moment everything changes isn't loud. It's quiet. A breath. A choice to stop chasing. A moment of remembering who you are without needing anyone to tell you. Maya had spent most of her adult life longing for love. Not just romance, but a kind of love that would make her feel safe, worthy, real. She did the work. She read the books. She wrote the affirmations. But underneath every vision board was one quiet belief. I need someone to complete me. And that belief was her frequency. She didn't realize it at first. She thought her hope was a strength. But what she was really broadcasting through every message, every anxious wait for replies, every quiet disappointment was this: I am not whole yet. And life responded in kind. One day, after yet another relationship dissolved into distance, Maya found herself sitting in her apartment in Vancouver. No more tears left to cry. Just silence. And a single question rising from deep within her body, not her mind. What if I stop asking someone to give me what I haven't given myself? That was the moment it shifted. Not instantly, not dramatically, but subtly, like a tide turning beneath the surface. Instead of running toward another connection, Maya turned inward. She began her mornings with breath, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. She placed her hand over her chest and whispered, "You're already enough." She stopped dressing for someone to notice her, and started dressing in ways that made her feel radiant. She set boundaries not to keep people out, but to keep herself in. Day by day, Maya stopped trying to get love, and started living as someone who already was love. And here's the beautiful part. She didn't become detached. She became magnetic. Her energy softened. She no longer carried the vibration of urgency. She didn't chase. She radiated. And then when she wasn't even trying, someone new entered her life. Not to rescue her. Not to fill the void. But to meet her right where she had already met herself. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was resonance. Because here's what Maya discovered. When you return to your own frequency, you stop needing the world to complete you. And that's when the right things begin to find you. Science echoes this too. In a 2021 study from the University of Toronto, individuals with high internal self-validation were more likely to form secure, lasting connections, not because they were better, but because their nervous systems weren't broadcasting emotional hunger. Have you ever felt that moment, the shift from needing to knowing? That quiet peace where you stopped looking outward and finally looked in? Tell me in the comments. Your story might be someone's mirror. Stay with me, because in the next and final part, we'll bring everything together. Want less, have more. Not because you stopped dreaming, but because you remembered. You already are it. Let's finish this journey together. What if the secret to receiving more is wanting less? Not because you've given up, but because you've finally remembered that you are already it. In a world that constantly tells you to want more, achieve more, become more, it's easy to forget the most powerful truth. You are already whole. Excessive craving isn't desire, it's displacement. It's a silent declaration to the universe that says, I'm not there yet. I don't have it. I'm not enough. And the field listens. It doesn't give you what you beg for. It mirrors back what you are. Let's say that again. Craving is not the problem. It's the frequency behind it that shapes your reality. This entire journey we've walked together from understanding lack, through embodiment, through Maya's shift points to one final invitation. Stop asking the world to make you feel full. Start showing up as someone who already is. Because what you truly need isn't more things. It's more alignment, more coherence, more moments of stillness where you remember, I don't need to reach for wholeness. I am already living in it. Research from the University of Sussex shows that people who practiced embodied presence through breath, self-regulation, and emotional awareness reported higher levels of daily satisfaction, even without significant external change. Why? Because when you become energetically full, the outside world can't help but organize itself around your signal. So instead of chasing, try broadcasting. Instead of, I hope this finds me, try, I'll become the version of me that this naturally belongs to. You are not here to beg life to give you more. You are here to remember your resonance and let life meet you there. What shifts for you when you hear this? Does it feel like relief? Resistance? A homecoming? Tell me in the comments. Your voice is part of this field too. And here's one last whisper for the road. You don't need to become worthy. You only need to remember you already are. Everything you've been reaching for is already trying to find its way to you. But it can only recognize you when you're being the version of you who's ready to receive. Let go of craving not because you don't care, but because you finally trust. And as your signal softens, the world will shift around you. Not because it changed first, but because you did. If this journey spoke to your heart, if something in you softened, woke up, or remembered who you truly are, feel free to share this video with someone you love. Because this work, it's not just personal, it's energetic, it ripples. And if you'd like to keep walking this path together, you know what to do. Tap subscribe, turn on the bell, and I'll meet you in the next space of frequency, embodiment, and truth. You're not chasing anymore. You're becoming. And that changes everything.